For this week's assignment, I created a questionnaire for one of my 8th grade classes, which is a class of 20 students, 10 boys and 10 girls. They are from extremely varied socioeconomic backgrounds, so some of the at-home questions, there was a pretty wide average. It'd be interesting to break that down a little bit and see what happened there. But we are one-to-one laptop, so one of the things I focused on was the difference in what their day looked like on a school day versus what their day looked like at home. So I'm just going to kind of run through the questions. I'll also give a little bit of a view into some of the conversations that started from this. I was not able to obtain actual sound clips from them due to time constraints and some parent unwillingness, so I just figured I'd skip it and give you the Reader's Digest version. So question number 1 was, how many minutes do you spend watching TV on a school day? And the answer for that was 60 minutes, on average 60 minutes. How many minutes do you spend watching TV on a non-school day? The average for that was 150 minutes. How many minutes do you spend talking or texting on your cell phone during a school day? That was 90 minutes. Now this is interesting because we actually encourage students at appropriate times to text each other and use that as a collaborative device. So part of that is legitimately school related and part of it is for entirely social purposes. Next, how many minutes do you spend talking or texting on your cell phone on a non-school day? We got 180 minutes there, with one student claiming that the only way that they can talk to anybody on the weekends is via cell phone because their parents work on the weekends and they're home alone. Let's see, number 5 here. How many minutes do you spend using a computer for school-related things on a school day? 210 minutes. We do have an interesting situation where the PE teacher and myself switch off. So on the days that I'm there, they have 3 academic courses where they're using the computers, and then on the off days, there are 2. So actually, several students gave quite a bit of hesitance in answering this question because it was hard to pin down, well, which day are we talking about, a PE day or a science day? Number 6, how many minutes do you spend using a computer for school-related things on a non-school day? The average was 60 minutes, but I had 4 or 5 kids, at least, who have no computer access whatsoever at home, and then several that have computer access but they don't have internet access. So this was pretty varied. I actually have one student that didn't have electricity at home at the time, so that makes that very difficult. Question 7. How many minutes do you spend playing video games on a school day? 30. This was, again, a wide range. Some students had gaming systems and others didn't, so the average was difficult. How many minutes do you spend playing video games on a non-school day? Average of 180. I actually had 2 students that basically that is their entire weekend. We're talking 6 hours a day. One student I specifically remember was counting how many hours they're awake, and that was going to be their answer. Number 9, how many minutes do you spend listening to music on a school day? This is a tool that we use in class if they're working on independent work. We have several students that are definite multitaskers and work substantially better when they have music. So the answer for that, minutes spent listening to music on a school day, 180, which is probably considerably larger than a lot of other schools, but something that we encourage for a lot of students. There are some that aren't allowed because it doesn't work for them. How many minutes do you spend listening to music on a non-school day? 240. A lot of them were saying that their iPods are pretty much running all day on the weekends. So I think this is an interesting kind of survey of how integrated technology is into the lives of 8th graders, especially in kind of a rural area where, I mean, one of my students doesn't even have electricity, so it's definitely pervasive. And I think as much as I disagree with the idea of there being digital natives based on age, the exposure is there, and I think that's definitely something to be looking at. Thanks for listening.